Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the BlastCast. I am Jarrus, and with me is the man who always boldly goes where no one has gone before, Lightning Dragon. Let's go ahead and talk about some news. One of the first things I want to talk about is a production update note here. Salvaging was moved to 3.3, and so we can really kind of only expect, as far as new careers to pop up, planetary mining. Most likely with the prospector and handheld tools. Now, LD, you and I had stated that, as far as we saw a lot of things that could be difficult to implement with salvaging, and I kind of felt that would probably be one that could be the highest ranked candidate for being pushed back as far as new careers go.
Oh yeah, I'm not at all surprised by that.
No,
because if you think about mining, what does mining entail? It's firing at a thing and getting resources.
Yeah, okay, it's basically numbers. I mean, you store numbers inside of a box, and
what is salvaging? Well, salvaging could be the exact same thing, but no, this is Star Citizen. Everything has to be above and beyond what normally. So it's like physically cutting objects and stuff. To be honest, I don't think we're going to see what they want as salvaging, because that would be dynamic everything, and I think that would just cripple the game engine.
Yeah, you might be right. I mean, I will have to see. I mean, maybe they'll come up with something creative.
Yeah, I mean, they could make it where it's just puts an invisible texture on something. So when you're actually, like, quote unquote cutting something, you're just pasting an invisible texture on there. And then because that's a thing that there's like the way they're doing textures, so you can just put any texture on something. So if you're placing an invisible texture where you basically just places the image of whatever is behind it on the front, then it would look like you're actually cutting the ship to pieces, and you'd have a somewhat dynamic repair thing. But I mean, it's really weird. To be honest, I see salvaging more as like what Item System 2.0 is going to bring in. And we love talking about that as well, where components have an actual physical object that exists in the game. So what you would be doing would be like ripping apart those modules and then like storing them in some kind of crate. So you'd have like, oh, I have a shield generator for a Hornet or a whatever size shield generator, and it's in this one crate, and that might be what they're planning on doing for salvaging. And then as far as like a scrap heap, it might just be like, well, we shot this beam at it, and then it eventually dissolved, and we had all the scrap metal.
All right, well, this week on Around the Verse, it was the UK update. So I'm going to go over the highlights of things in there that I found interesting. Now, they did show more of the rest stops or truck stops. They seem to change the name a little bit here and there, but they are looking amazing. What I really like the best is those internal hangars, and they are modular to a degree, so each hangar should have its own unique look and feel. Now, the hangars look like what they've developed so far is large enough to at least allow a starfarer to land. As far as something like the Reclaimer, not sure yet, but I hope that someday down the road that the option does present itself.
I think they need docking arms is what they need.
Yeah, that would definitely be good down the road. But for large ships, I think it's important to be able to put them out of people's sight or unload them or load them in a place where no one's looking, so it'll help the game performance overall.
That too.
Now, the question that this presents is, are they going to be using this procedural tech for our own personal hangars? A lot of us have a lot of different ships or a lot of different packages, and we have accumulated quite the variety of hangar types. Not just variety, but number of. I can't even imagine with 35 ships how many hangars, quote unquote, I actually own. And when that comes out, I mean, will I be able to just distribute these hangars on different planets? I would assume that if you have a hangar that came with a ship as kind of a backer bonus before the game launches, that those are not hangars you have to pay for to maintain. Could be wrong, but I would like to see for each one of those my ability to just pick, I like this planet, I like this planet, and not choose until I know where I want to put them. Now, the truck stop interiors, the iteration on the procedural design of that is still ongoing. What they're trying to focus on right now, a lot of it, is the little details, the little objects and randomizations of lighting and things like that that will change the atmosphere of each one of those stations. It's kind of a finishing detail, but a lot of times it does really kind of make the difference. CIG showed off destructible objects and lighting. I love this. I love games when they do this. Not only were they able to shoot lights out that were on the wall, they had this thing rolling across the floor, this lantern, and they were able to destroy that as well. And in combat, being able to take out the illumination in a room can change the dynamic of a battle. So kudos. I am very, very happy to see this coming in. CIG is developing a prototype scramble race event that will be procedurally created in both PU for space and planet side. Now, for any Elite Dangerous players out there, you'll kind of think of this as Buckyball to a degree. That was an event that players created where they would set races between different planets and systems, and sometimes even flying through the narrow gaps on those large star bases. But it became so popular, it became its own thing and actually part of the lore. So I'm glad to see this, and I hope this is something that can give racers a lot more of what they want.
Especially considering that they haven't touched the co-op racing.
Oh yeah,
track.
absolutely, and unlimited potential for unlimited racetracks. I'm all for that. The reputation system is being worked on because right now it is way too easy to gain negative reputation and too hard to gain positive ones.
Well, that'd be nice.
Wouldn't know anything about that.
No, not at all. Especially when you accidentally touch someone's ship and it kills you and they get flagged as a criminal because he touched my ship and then died somehow.
Yeah, I had that happen in our last Explore the Verse. That was just terrible. I went to like 5 or something on the criminal ranking because you stuck your head next to my cockpit and died.
Yeah, I was asking you. I'm not sure if anybody's seen that episode. I was asking you, it's like, can you see me yet? Because I was getting closer and closer, but it's like, I who knows if you can see or not. So the joke was I was gonna press my face up against the window and like, can you see me now? Where it'd be like real obvious. But as soon as I did that, I died.
And then I became a wanted man.
Yeah, that was good times.
The Aegis Hammerhead's interior is coming along, with the exception of a couple of rooms. They have got some of the rooms into what they call a detail pass stage. I think they're really pushing to get this one out, probably because it's going to be in Squadron 42.
Kind of what it sounds like.
And but I'm also excited for it coming out, not because I own one, but because I think it will force them to address a lot of the issues that are underlying in why turrets work, or I should say don't work, in the current gameplay. I see the ship as an overall positive for the overall development.
Yeah, and we'll not harp on turrets again, even though we'd love to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the short version is turrets aren't very usable in the current state.
Now to a ship I actually do own, the Eclipse is back into full production. The focus is on the exterior of the ship, including materials and making parts move correctly. And I really look forward to dropping bombs with this one.
Is this the ship that I hate because it was buy a video card only and we'll never sell this ever again?
No. This is the one that just carries like Retaliator-sized torpedoes. It's just a stealth torpedo fighter. It carries a few torpedoes.
Okay, so it's not the EMP ship.
No.
Okay. Well, I'm fine with this one then.
It's a tiny Retaliator. The main focus of Around the Verse this week was about making the Mobiglass better, and I could not be in greater agreement about that. Some of the main things they're focusing on is making sure that the mouse pointer does not slide around when you breathe, that it actually kind of adheres to the location of the surface. As you know right now, when you use the Mobiglass and you zoom in or whatever, and you just let go of your mouse, you'll move from location to location as your character's either vision or head or hand or whatever bobs, causing a little bit of problem when it comes to precisely clicking on what you're trying to click on.
Is it because the buttons are too small?
No, it's because the mouse pointer stays exactly where it is on the screen and the Mobiglass moves. The way it's going to be now is it's basically, it'll move exactly in rhythm with any movement of the Mobiglass, so you shouldn't have to fight it.
Because I have a different game open with an Omni-Tool device, and the mouse pointer stays the same, but the character is like kind of moving slightly.
Yeah.
But the buttons are so big in this said game that I've never ever had a problem with it.
Yeah. Interstellar Rift does a great job on their Mobiglass, and it's very functional. Not only not only for your personal use, but interacting with or hacking systems that you're next to.
Yeah, it's nice.
One thing that they're looking to add, which I completely and totally am excited about, is they want to put a shadow around any objects that are bright in the Mobiglass to create kind of an outline when the Mobiglass is presenting itself against a bright background so that you can actually see what you're looking at. Think of it as being like early on, if you remember from a long time ago when subtitles came out, they made them one color. And if you had white words on a white background, you just couldn't read what was being said. Eventually they got wise and they put, for example, a different color border around the words, or they just, whatever
Put
along
the
those
words
lines.
in boxes.
Yeah, so it made it a lot more readable as colors on the screen changed. This is something that will help a lot. It's worked for subtitlers. It sure worked well for Star Citizen. I just hope they give us the option to customize the colors that we see on the Mobiglass, because...
Oh, I want hot pink with a neon orange background.
Well, don't we have that Star Kitty thing? We get you one of those themes.
Oh god, no. I was just trying to think of really
and when it opens,
colors.
it should make a cute little anime voice or something. Like,
no, it goes, nya.
Lightning a dragon, go!
No, it just says, nya.
Oh, that'll work too, but I like mine more. Especially if everyone else can hear it. They're also trying to streamline the interface to reduce the number of clicks it takes to do the function that you want to do.
Which functions are that? Like using anything in Star Citizen?
Putting on clothing, changing armor, equipping weapons, putting items on weapons, attachments and things like that. They want to basically streamline the whole thing so you're not like drilling down through folders.
Yeah, like the clothes and doors and stuff should quite literally just be one button. But like, and if you're doing like customization on weapons, I can understand having like 2 or 3 kind of like levels of that. Because you want to select the gun itself, then you want to like select the part and then like where you want to put it or something, or if you want to swap it in and out. But I haven't messed with like anything in there because it's just so bad and frustrating, and then latency. It's a combination of bad.
Yeah. Now they're taking the Mobiglass layout and they're going to be applying it to Star Marine and Arena Commander. Make sure that whatever we're using in the Persistent Universe is the same as we're using for the setups in both of those games. This should create a consistency that will make it very easy to move from one game or one game mode to the other. Right now, the current application they have for Star Marine doesn't allow you to do things like switch out your scopes or add silencers or whatever. It's not in-depth enough, it's not detailed enough for them to do that. So this should allow them to give us that depth. And customizing armor, maybe you can start changing your colors of your armor in there. I can't wait till we can start doing that.
More customization is good customization.
If you're interested on more details about upcoming Mobiglass changes, I recommend giving this week's Around the Verse a watch. This week on Reverse the Verse, they're talking about props and the implementation of those props in the Persistent Universe and what it takes to make them operate and all the little subparts that go along with them. Now, one thing they did bring up was that the procedural food thing is actually a real deal. It's not going to be in the game per se, but it's an artistic tool they use to create food. They can change the parameters and then take that finished food-looking product and put it into the game. I was actually surprised by that, but as I said, I wasn't going to watch a 10-hour stream.
10-hour stream.
Not going to happen. It is more of a technical show, so if you're interested in asset creation in Star Citizen, give it a watch. It's about an hour long. Before we get into the calling all devs, I want to give a quick thought on the current state of 3.1.
At least this last patch.
Yeah, there will not be an Explore the Verse this week. We were having some major problems. I was trying to record an episode with my brother Captain Tyler and Lightning Dragon, and we never made it off of Port All-Star. Well, Lightning did. He had his Retaliator.
I technically did. I went all the way to yellow, but...
Yeah. The frame rates were dipping into the, 11. And on top of that, and this has never happened before with me with Star Citizen, when I close the game, I get a memory crash report. And you were watching it live, and you were seeing it eat up almost all your computer's memory and everything.
Yeah, because you mentioned that when you jumped on to test something. I don't remember quite what it was, but when you closed the game, you're like, yeah, this was weird because I had a memory crash a pop up, and it's like, that's kind of weird. So it's like, well, maybe, you know, I'll keep my task manager open on the performance tab to see what's being used. And if I actually, you know, because we're recording all in one section here, if I open my task manager up and get a loud noise in my ear, hopefully that didn't get picked up. I'm running Interstellar Rift right now. I'm about 13% CPU and about 6 gigabytes of memory with a bunch of browser tabs open. Now, that's not a lot, and it's about on par with like something like Warframe. Star Citizen was using like 70% of my CPU, which is a i7 something. So it's pretty good CPU, and I don't think most games go that high. I think it's between 20 and maybe 50% is my games I play. But yeah. I've got 16 gigabytes of memory, and it was up there at 80 to 98% of my memory.
You were counting it up as you were going. You were like at 97. It's at 98. You're like, I'm multi-4ing. I'm done.
Yeah, I don't know for sure, but I think it was at 99% at one time, which would be 15.8 gigabytes of memory. Now, there was about 3 gigabytes being used for, you know, Chrome or whatever I had open. But I imagine if I had closed Chrome, Star Citizen would have eaten the last of that too. Because I'm not sure what's going on, but I didn't see any major performance increase. In fact, it felt worse than ever.
And that's not trying to be, you know, we're not trying to be jerks about it, but I'm not going to fry my computer to, you know, to test the game. I'm either going to wait for them to come out with another patch, or if I have to, I'll wait for Evo County testing to open up for 3.2 if there's no patch between here and there. But
it sure seems like something is wrong.
Yeah, because I can run any game out there in the market, full graphics, everything up all the way, and my computer doesn't even care. And I've never had a memory crash. I've never had an issue. I've never had a problem. When I've been playing this particular last patch, I was actually in fear that I could seriously mess up my computer, and I'm just not going to do it.
So it was... Whatever they did, they need to... Like, maybe there's a 1 where there's supposed to be a 0. It could be something.
It could be something minor. But it needs to be addressed. And as I said, if another patch comes out, I'll give it another whirl. But if this holds as it is until 3.2 testing starts, then I'm kind of out. I don't have the money to replace a lot of equipment right now. I know that a lot of people think that YouTubers make a massive amount of money, but this is a small channel, and I do actually have a job and pay for normal bills like a normal human being. So that's just kind of the way it goes.
Filthy, stinking rich like me.
Exactly. Now it's time to get into the Calling All Devs, where we make it quick and fast so you don't have to watch the entire thing. Question: the Freelancer Max now lists 2 engines instead of 4. Has this changed, or is this an error in the ship matrix? Answer: right now it's not known if the ship will have 4 engines or 2 large ones, or even more if needed. Until they get around building the updated model, nothing is nailed down.
Kerbal Space Program, more boosters.
Well, as an owner of Freelancer Max, I was kind of interested in that answer. That's actually my package ship is the Freelancer Max.
I think the Freelancer Max is a good ship. It's
yeah, I love it.
The Freelancer is a pretty decent style, and then you just have extra cargo. I don't know if you'll have extra fuel tanks. I imagine you'd have some kind of extra fuel tanks given the larger engines or something.
It's a sweet spot for me, like the Cutlass. It's just a good solid ship for small groups of players and also just for doing about anything.
Oh yeah, even just running solo.
Question: will people ever be able to fly from the rear seat of the Cutlass? Answer: right now, no. It was intentionally designed that the front seat would be for flying. The rear seat is for systems operations.
What systems?
Coming later. Question: are there plans to have apartments in planets with cities? Answer: apartments may be premature. The HABs they have currently in game are made to be rented in the persistent universe, but this could be a first implementation of something like dedicated apartment buildings down the road. They want to get the foundation of the game in before considering an option like this. I would love to be able to rent a place in a city. Not everyone wants to put a habitat down on a planet. That's not really for me, and I think for a lot of starting players, that's a much more economical solution.
GTA 5 apartments. Sorry.
There you go. I'll take the ratty one because they always have more character.
Like usually the houses are nicer and the apartments are like too proper and modern.
Question: are there any ships other than the ships we know that are being scheduled for a rework? Answer: the M50, the Buggy, and the Merlin. Now the Buggy I would assume is the Grey Cat they're talking about. Their materials and things are a bit out of date, so they want to go back and revisit them.
The Merlin's been in need of an update for a while.
Yeah. Question: what is the status of decompression? Answer: it had to be pushed back because it not only affects ships but the environment. They want to take a deep look at how it will affect the game before applying it. Simply put, they don't want to do the work twice. I have no problem with that. I think that's a smart move. Later this week on this channel, as we stated, there's going to be no Explore the Verse, but we are doing a extra cast. We're going to be covering Interstellar Rift. They've had a few changes since we played it last time. In fact, I think the only time I've really covered it in depth, we did it on Lightning Dragon's channel.
Yeah, you might have had like one episode or something.
Might have, yeah.
And I had like 3 or 4.
Interstellar Rift is a building game that has a lot of functions and features that Star Citizen is trying to strive for. Now, it's graphically much simpler. The solar systems seem to be at a 1-to-1 size. You can't go down to planets and you can't leave your ship. There's no EVA. It's basically ship to station kind of game, but it's really fun, and you're only limited by your creativity. On the playlist, I'm going to be giving the bomber a second shot. Now, the video I put out this Sunday was my first time in a bomber. I didn't know how it flew. I didn't know its restrictions. I'm still using a control type that I'm not familiar with. I'm going to take a look and see if I can get now that the game has the option to incorporate a stick, I'm going to see if I can get that set up. And I want to see the best way to approach combat with the bomber. So, as I said, I'm going to be giving it a shot. Now, I have made a lot of money with the bomber because blowing up capital ships, which is what it's made to do, pays out big. All right, everyone. Well, that's everything for this week's BlastCast. As always, leave your comments, suggestions, and hate mail for Lightning Dragon down below. And,
what are you talking about? Everybody loves me. I'm like the Danny of Game Grumps.
Ouch. I don't want to be Aaron.
No one wants to be Aaron.
Well, I guess you didn't say Ross, so I'm not Ross. So anyway.
Actually,
no.
Interesting tidbit. Ross actually isn't doing games anymore. He's on his animation stuff. He kind of went to do that full time.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah, so that's cool.
And on that Game Grumps note, we will catch you on the next one.
Bye-bye.